right, welcome to the Friday main event, Class 3A Top 10. Lee, we've covered Classes 1A and 2A, and we're trying to figure out who's going to be. This is probably the most mysterious position in all of high school football. Who on earth are we going to put at the top of Class 3A? Have you got any thoughts on that?
I've been thinking about this quite hard. I think we might ought to go with Alcoa.
Hey, there you go. That's a shocker. That's the biggest question every high school football season. Who will be number 1 in 3A? Alcoa. We like them. We like them a lot. However, I mean, Covington played them closely.
They did.
They played them very close last year, and we didn't see that going into the season.
No, we didn't. But I tell you what, I think Coach Rankin's even better this year. That's the scary part of this. I think he's even better. He's got we already talked about tons of all-state talent.
Yep.
Across the board, and probably the best coaching staff in the game. You know what, man? I don't even know if 4A and 5A could deal with him.
I don't either, Lee. And I would be curious. Well, obviously, with the win over Maryville last year, Maryville was a semifinal team in 6A. Alcoa, I think, could probably be competitive in 6A.
Oh, they would be competitive.
Year in and year out.
Yeah. So
and that'll probably play out, Lee, because their first game at Blackman.
Yeah, they got 2 6A squads on their schedule this year. So
yeah, and that Blackman game is a Thursday night game, a season opener for both teams. Should be interesting. And Lee, we talked about in our region previews, 7 starters back on both sides of the ball, and as you said, 5 all-state players. Eli Mitchell, the offensive lineman, Braxton Alford, Gray Carroll, J.R. Jones, coach's son Zeke Rankin is a preseason all-state kicker. And then if it wasn't enough, Lee, they replaced their all-state quarterback with Cam Burden, a junior quarterback out of Sevier County, a dual threat.
It might not even be the starter.
May not even be the starter, according to our friend Donovan Stewart. So, man, they're just eat up with talent.
Tons of it. And
I think a big game for them, Lee, ironically, is not a region game. That Maryville game, they host Maryville September the 12th. They knocked them off 34-28 last year, if you remember. And that's one of the biggest rivalries in the state, if not the biggest rivalry. That's the game the Tornadoes covet. That's the game they want, regardless. Any other game, they want to beat Maryville. And that game on September 12th should be a good one.
I think so.
Lee, at number 2, we've got Covington, the defending runner-up team under new management. J.R. Kirby takes over for our buddy Marty Wheeler, who's now at Cleveland. They've got 6 starters back on offense, 8 on defense, led by Marcus Hayes, Mr. Football finalist last year at tailback.
Real deal. He's just a junior. He's the real deal. Showed a lot last year, I thought, in that championship game. But what I really like about Covington is the defensive side of the ball. I think they got 8 kids coming back on that side, and they can game plan you. They can stay healthy. Don't get the injury bug. I think Coach Kirby's in a good spot.
Yeah, you mentioned that defense. Andrew Scott, Caleb Winfrey, and Rashawn Dyson, who's actually a junior, Lee.
Right.
And then you also got
McGarity.
Joshua McGarity. So that middle, I think it's going to be really tough to run on the Chargers this year. I think it's going to be a team that's got to go over the top if they're going to score on that Covington squad. So, yeah, we like the Chargers at number 2. And it was a very close. I mean, Lee and I would kind of struggle with this right here. The team we got at number 3 is actually a region opponent of the Covington Chargers. That's the Milan Bulldogs. And I think, Lee, earlier in the preseason, we had Milan at 2 and Covington at 3. But, you and I discussed it, and we kind of kicked it around. It's kind of hard to put a team that got beat twice last season, as Milan did, by Covington. It's kind of hard to put them ahead when they got basically the same amount of returning starters.
Right.
So we like Milan, the Bulldogs, Teddy Pettigrew's team at 3, 7 starters back on both sides of the ball. Lee, I think that October the 4th game where they host Covington, that's going to determine a lot, don't you think?
Yeah, it'll be for the title, region title. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the top 10 in the state.
Right.
Not necessarily who's going to win the region or because these two teams are in the same region. But I'll tell you what, Milan's definitely a top 5 team, that's for sure.
No doubt.
And so we'll put them at the 3 spot.
Yeah, I like them. And I failed to mention Covington. They host South Gibson on October the 18th. I think that's a pivotal game for J.R. Kirby's squad, given the fact they only won by 1 point last year over South Gibson. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, in that matchup with South Gibson. Number 4, Lee, we've got Stratford, Region 5 team we really like a lot. Thomas Porter came on as the interim head coach last year. Very smart decision by the Stratford faculty or administrators. They removed the interim tag. Hey, he carried them to the semifinals. I think that was probably a good decision. What do you think?
Yes, sir. They ended up 5-9 and going in 2-8.
Yeah, 2-8 entering the playoffs.
Big part of that obviously is James Moore. 2,200 yards last year, almost 2,300 yards, and 25 TDs.
Crazy.
Got their quarterback coming back. I like Stratford, man.
I like them a lot, Lee. And like you said, 6 starters back on offense, 7 on defense. If they can get through that crazy tough Region 5 with Pearl Cone, East Nashville, Giles County, I mean, a really, really tough region to come out of. But if they can get through that region unscathed, I like them to potentially go all the way to the state title.
It's very possible, and we talked about this earlier, and I'm sure allude to it here in a minute. I think of that, Stratford has the best chance to get out of the region unscathed because I think the other teams are going to beat themselves up.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and Pearl Cone with that extreme, we'll talk about that here in a minute, but Pearl Cone with that extremely tough non-region schedule, remains to see whether they're going to come out of that healthy or not.
Right.
So
I like the competition because I do think it makes you get better in the playoffs. But man, that's pretty brutal, that schedule.
It is. Lee, we've got Upperman, the Bees. Adam Kane, 13-1 in his first year there, coming over from Sequatchie County.
Right.
Done an excellent job leading the Bees last year. They played Alcoa close, 27-14 in the semifinal. They've only got 4 starters back on offense, but that defense is really good. One of those offensive starters is a preseason All-State Donovan McAllister at quarterback.
Solid ball player, very solid. And I think Upperman will get tested a little at York. They got to go to York. That's always a tough place to play. There's no easy way to get to York. I don't even know if you can get there from here. But that's a tough place to play. They got this dragon in the end zone, Mike, that's got glowing eyes and smoke comes out of his mouth. And
at York?
At York.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
So it's a pretty cool place. Pretty cool place to go. But yeah, I like them at the 5 spot. I think defensively they're very good.
Yeah, I like them as well. Yeah, they're in a pretty tough region there in Region 4 with York, as you mentioned. But I like the Bees at 5. At 6, we've got Austin East, who is in the region with Alcoa, unfortunately for Jeff Phillips, who I think would probably have been in 2, possibly 3 state title games by now if it were not for Alcoa. They 9-4 last year, 5-1 in region play with that one loss to Alcoa. Alcoa knocked them out in the 3rd round, 24-6 lead. They've got 7 starters back on offense and a lot of preseason All-State players.
Sure do. Isaiah Ligon, he's big time. Trey Foster, and then Keon Smith, and then they got Chris Green coming back, at the cornerback spot. I mean, you talked about this too also a little earlier, is if Coach Phillips ever going to try to get Alcoa, he might need to do it this year because he's pretty senior heavy.
Yes, yeah, he's got it at the right spots. The senior quarterback, how I am on senior quarterbacks, Trey Foster, if he can get it done.
But
and
he's
got that big
Alcoa. That's such a tough place, man.
At Alcoa on August 30th. That's the key game, man. You got to, as we said earlier, you got to beat the man to be the man, and until they can knock off Alcoa, it's runner-up. But good squad this year, no doubt. Lee, at number 7, we got Pearl Cone, and I mentioned earlier that preseason, that non-region tough schedule they got. They got Cane Ridge at TSU, They play NBA. They play at Maplewood. They play at Independence. And they have Hillsboro at home. Always a really tough game. That's a good rivalry game for those guys.
That's right.
Tough schedule for Coach Brunetti and that Firebird squad.
It is. I tell you what, if they get through that healthy, they got a chance. You know, they do have a chance. Seven is the spot we got them in, but that could be, you know, I could see them
as high as 3.
As high as a 3 spot, probably.
Yeah.
Coach Brunetti's a good coach too, man. He does a good job over there. So I think 7's where they need to be right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bump up.
Well, they've got Deshaun Wade back, linebacker, preseason all-state. Kendrick Breedlove, running back. He, like you mentioned, Lee, he and Evan Dayton both had 20 TDs between them.
Both juniors.
Good-looking squad there. 4 returners back on offense and defense. But I think I agree with you. I think 7 spot's a good spot for them. And another, actually, this is the 3rd region, and we said we felt Region 5 is if not the best region, one of the best top to bottom. Our 3rd team in our top 8 out of Region 5 is East Nashville, and Brian Waite, 10-2 last year, 3-1 in region play. Their only loss, of course, to Pearl Cone in region play. Lee, they've got a whole lot of talent on this East Nashville team.
Tons of it, man. They got the number 26 recruit, number 44 recruit, number 46 recruit, returning a junior quarterback in Quanzi Jamison. And then they got another Corey Stewart, offensive line, preseason All-State. So tons of talent over there, bud.
I agree, Lee. And they got Maplewood as a non-region. They've got Smyrna. They travel to Smyrna. Got Brainerd. They got BGA. They got Good Pasture. The big test for them is the same thing it was last year, Lee. Pearl Cone. I mean, they entered that game last year, Lee. If I remember right, they were 8-0. Yeah, heading into that game, they wound up losing 35-6 to Pearl Cone.
I think I actually picked East Nashville.
I think you did too. I don't think I did.
I picked East Nashville.
Well, actually, I don't
because it was at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why could they were 8-0?
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like that was a dumb pick. They are eat up with talent, but I mean, they've got to get past Pearl Cone. The Firebirds are tough. They seem to have their number.
Right.
But I think this year they got a really good chance to do that. That's a tough region, man.
Oh, buddy.
All right, Lee, at number 9, we got our buddy Chris Hughes, Fairview squad, 10-3 last year, 5-0 in region play. As we mentioned, they went undefeated in that Region 6. I think they won it by an average of 30 points. Lost to Stratford in the 3rd round, 26-14, when Stratford made that march through the playoffs. 6 starters back on offense, 7 on defense.
Yep. A player to watch out for them is Anakin King, a senior quarterback. He hasn't had a lot of exposure. He's been biding his time, which props to Coach Hughes for being able to keep the kid around.
All right.
A lot of kids don't want to sit, especially a talented quarterback, and Anakin is talented, trust me when I tell you that. And then Logan Nardazzi is tailback, 1,300 yards rushing last year. So I think Fairview is going to contend.
I agree, Lee. And Camden was the only region opponent that played them tight. They played them October the 4th. I think that'll probably be for the Region 6 title, the way it's looking to shape out anyway. So
I think so. That'll
be a big game for them. I think that Page Battle of 840, that'll be an interesting game for both squads as well. So I like Fairview at 9. At number 10, Lee, we've got Red Bank, and we mentioned Chris Brown in his first year there at Red Bank. Went 11-1 last year. He coached the linebackers at Cleveland, so a good background there for Coach Brown. And they got knocked out by Upperman. Good Upperman team. 7 starters back on offense, 5 on defense.
That's right. I think Red Bank, that's a good spot for him at the 10. Definitely has some talent coming back with Lockerbie, preseason All-Stater there at linebacker. And then he's also got Jaden High coming back preseason All-State, and then B.J. Ragland coming back, who's preseason All-State. So a lot of talent around the Chattanooga area.
And believe it or not, Lee, they got a quarterback back, Max Wilkie, 2,200 yards passing, 18 TDs, only 7 picks, completed 65%. He wasn't even in the mention for All-State.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so, they got a lot of talent there at Red Bank.
That's right.
10, after looking at all that, I'm thinking 10 may be a little low.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
You got to put somebody there, right?
That's right.
So, I like Red Bank.
They made it to the quarters.
Yeah,
last year.
That's
Lost
right.
to a very good Upperman team. Very well could be right back there.
But the thing about it is, man, you're sitting there saying, well, they should be higher, but who would they be ahead of that we've got in the top 9, you know?
Exactly. Well, the one that shook our top 10 up, obviously, is Region 5.
Right. Well, 5.
We got three teams?
Yeah,
Region
3
5
teams in Region 5.
In
right.
top 10, but you take any of those 3 and put them in a different region, they're contending.
That's right. I agree.
Contending, so.
That's a tough class to predict. There's so
is.
many good teams, and we've kind of seen that a lot. But
Here's another Region 5 team just outside of it.
We didn't even mention Giles County. I mean, there's a lot of I think, media that'll have Giles County in their top 10, and we originally had them in our top 10, but our top 10 is crowded, Lee.
It is.
it's very crowded.
A lot of good football in 3A.
There's a lot of good football in 3A, and a couple of 3 other teams, that we felt would contend for a top 10. South Gibson over in Region 7, of course, they played Covington very close last year.
Right.
Raleigh, Egypt in Region 8, we like them to win that region this year. Then Camden Central, another team in Region 6, William Blow squad, I think they're going to be solid this year. So, as the case, every time we do a top 10, there's probably 5 or 6 teams, 7, 8 teams that could be in the 7 through 15 spot.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right, Lee. Well, that is our top 10. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate Coach T supporting us as he always does here on the Friday main event. This concludes our 3A coverage. 3 videos each class we've done, and that 1A, 2A, and 3A is in the books. Lee, I've enjoyed it.
I have too, man. Of course, this what you said earlier. We do this, but I think we do it for the right reason too, Mike. We love football, but I love to talk about these kids, these coaches. They work hard.
They do.
They work hard. They need to get some props, and it's just something we love to do. So it's a good fit.
And you'd be shocked at how many coaches. And Lee, we've got a lot of coaches. I mean, we've probably got 100 coaches or so that have participated in the program, and to the letter, every one of them. Well, we appreciate what you guys do for high school football.
Right.
And that means a lot to us, knowing that we're doing it for the right reasons, and we're giving the programs and the coaches and the kids exposure. And we appreciate you guys taking the time to watch what we're doing, and we hope you appreciate the product we're trying to give you anyway.
That's right.
Well, Lee, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. This has been 3A coverage by the Friday main event. Lee Teat and Mike Motor, and we appreciate you guys tuning in.